All right, Jesse on fire. Let's talk about Colby Covington, who is quickly becoming one of my favorite fighters because, man, I love this. Like, I'm literally reading MMA Fighting. The Great Divide. Whose problem is it when Colby Covington crosses the line? I'm like, apparently it's your problem. Apparently it's your problem. It sure is not his, because why do you think he crossed that line? You think it was because he had some deep-seated feelings of racism? Or do you think that it's because he wanted you to talk about him, which you're doing? You're literally doing exactly what he wants you to do. Oh, by the way, if you like the content, subscribe, ring the bell. That's what I'm doing. I want you to talk about me. So, talk about me. Talk about me. Anyway, so whose problem is it when Colby Covington crosses the line? It's your problem. If you're upset, it's your problem. Because if anybody who is taking anything that Colby Covington says seriously, it's your problem and your, complete and total lack of emotional intelligence and ability to read people, okay? He's wearing a $10 suit and a MAGA hat, and he's intentionally trying to make you angry, and you got angry. You got angry. You got angry at something Colby Covington is saying. Come on, man. Now we're talking about LeBron James fighting Colby Covington. Let me tell you how that's going to go. Spoiler! Here, you don't even need to buy the pay-per-view, man. I mean, you might want to buy it, to watch LeBron get beat up. I've seen him hit pads. I mean, because listen, when you watch somebody hit pads, you can tell if they know what they're doing, right? Like, as an example, I'm going to show you guys maybe I'll just show you guys me shadow boxing since I don't have anybody here currently to hold pads for me, but you'll be able to see oh, this guy actually knows how to fight versus, and then go watch LeBron. Just compare the speed and crispness between me, who knows how to fight, and LeBron, who does not know how to fight, okay? So let's compare those two things. Ready? Go. Yeah, that was real speed. That was regular speed. Yeah, someone who was watching it over here when I was editing this, they asked me if I had sped that up. I hadn't. That was real. That was live speed. Mm-hmm. That was exactly the speed with which I threw those strikes. I did not doctor that video at all. You want me to see me do it again? Watch this. See, I did it. You couldn't even see it. It was so fast that time. Now watch how slow LeBron is. But I'm going to save you. I'm going to save you having to buy the pay-per-view if that fight actually happened. It would look like this. They could fight 10,000 times, and Colby Covington would win 10,000 times by whatever method he felt like, okay? He'd probably kick his legs a little bit just to let him know what it feels like to have a professional fighter kick you in the legs. It would hurt a lot. A lot. Then he'd take him down. Then he would punch him in the face, which would be the first time that LeBron's ever been punched in the face. Think about that. Colby would be the first time, and that would be the first of many times he was going to punch him in the face. And then, when LeBron tried to explode out of it, he would get choked out and go to sleep. Or maybe armbar, maybe knee bar. I don't know. Man, that would be... I'm trying to think of putting actually, I don't know. His legs might be too big for Colby Covington to put a knee bar on. That's an interesting question, actually. I don't know. I am not a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu expert, so I can't pretend to be. Now, on the striking side, I can tell you exactly what it would feel like to cha, cha, cha. Anyway, but yeah. Actually, I take that back. There is one scenario where LeBron James could win that fight. One, okay? How many of you guys have seen the movie Gladiator? Do you know where I'm going with this? The last scene when Joaquin Phoenix stabs Maximus, when they're backstage and then he straps the armor on and then they go out and fight? That's the only way that LeBron could win, is if someone stabbed Colby Covington in his gut, right? And as he was bleeding to death, they put him into the Octagon and then they're like, now fight! And Colby would probably still win. While bleeding to death, he would probably still win. But maybe LeBron could potentially win in that particular scenario. Okay, so anybody who's entertaining LeBron would win that fight because he has 100 pounds on him. Okay, you've never been in a real fight, okay? Or you certainly have never been into a gym where professional fighters fight, okay? You never squared off against a person who does this for a living and figured out what level of skill gap you're talking about. I'm talking about people who fight, okay? Like people who actually fight, and then they get in there with a professional and they're like, oh my God, I did some smokers and I ran through guys, ran through them, thought I had a future. Then I got in there with a professional And I found out that I have no future. I don't have time to get that good. I don't have even remotely enough time to get that good. And I also am going to be nursing this leg for the next month. Jeez. But also I've been having this conversation as it relates to professional female fighters versus just big dudes who think they're tough. Okay, the girl will win 100 times out of 100, right? I mean, if the girl knows jiu-jitsu, she'll always win. Okay, if the girl has to know jiu-jitsu though, okay, a girl who's just like a professional fighter is like a decent striker, she would have a hard time with a big dude just because. But she knows jiu-jitsu, the guy's getting submitted. Plain and simple. Colby would run through him. But then check this out. Dana White says UFC won't censor Colby Covington or anybody else. Who's more about free speech than we are? Okay, did anybody miss when Dana White did a Trump campaign video? You think Dana White's going to censor Colby Covington with his MAGA hat? Are you out of your mind? He's not going to censor anybody. Dana would never censor anyone. Okay, this is the best thing that could Dana is the most singular-minded human ever. I love Dana White. I love him because he is living the dream. Okay, when I was running my company, when I was building Major League Fantasy, I had no room in my life for literally anything else. That's the only time of my entire marriage where like my marriage was like strained a little bit, and it was only because that company meant so much to me. I literally had no room for other people. I just had no room for anybody else. Even Gabrielle, who I love more than anything on earth. Dana, that's the UFC for him. The UFC is his baby, his fucking baby. And Colby Covington, getting people to talk about him, means he's going to sell more pay-per-views. That's excellent for Dana's baby. He's putting food in Dana's baby's mouth, okay? Dana loves this. He loves it. He loves it. He loves it. He loves it. So, yeah, shocker that he's not going to censor Colby. What did Colby even say anyway? I didn't even read it. I just don't care because there's literally nothing that Colby could have said that would have, caught me off guard or made me feel shocked. I mean, he's doing the MAGA thing. Like, of course, half the country is going to be mad. He's doing that on purpose. I mean, I would say even if he was apolitical before, I would say now he's probably a pretty heavy Trump supporter, given that Trump called him after he won. They're like friends. Trump is a simple creature, man. If you yell, "I love Trump," Trump's like, "Man, I love you." That's all Trump really wants. If you got people who don't understand this about him, Trump, more than any other thing in the entire world, he just wants people to love him. That's it. He is a simple creature, okay? Now, he's got plenty of flaws. We're not going to talk about him in this video. That's for, if I want to talk about Trump, I'll talk about him on Jesse on Everything, which, by the way, I did the best video I've ever done across the board on Jesse on Everything last night. Go watch it. It's my most recent upload. I challenge you to tell me that I've ever done a better video than that one. Everyone agrees it's the best video I've ever done. Ever. So go to Jesse on Everything, watch that video, and then subscribe. But, yeah. Colby and Trump, they got a love affair. And, the secret's out that Colby's best friend, George Masvidal, is also a Trump supporter. But that's because his dad came from communist Cuba, and so he's going to vote against whatever looks like communist Cuba. Anyway, but that's neither here nor there. I didn't say anything about my own opinion of Trump, so don't go spaz out, okay? I'm just talking about Colby Covington's character in the UFC. I don't care about politics, all right? I don't care about politics. I don't care about Trump. I don't care about Biden. I don't care about nothing. Except I like reading about scandals. There's a pretty big one today. You guys should go look that up. Yeah. This is exciting. I love when Colby starts shit because it just like at a certain point, Colby's going to fight for the belt again. That's going to be really fun. And at a certain point, he's going to fight George Masvidal. And it's going to be really fun to pretend like those two guys hate each other. And I will be so happy to see both those guys make millions of dollars having cultivated this thing for years and years and years. They deserve it. They deserve it. They deserve every dollar. I will never get more satisfaction out of watching two guys get paid than I will Colby and Masvidal, who created this unbelievable masterpiece of drama. Amazing. Anyway, if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. Tell your friends. Send this to people because, it's the best MMA channel. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows. Although, let me say one thing. Before I go off. I posted a video that Chael Sonnen did yesterday because it was genius. It was genius. It's something like... It is hard. It's hard for someone to make a point about the business of MMA or fighting or any of that I had not thought of, and he did that in a big way yesterday when he talked about Damian Maia, and he was saying that Damian Maia announced that this was going to be his last fight, and he said that was a sucker move, and I was like, I mean, why? Because I don't understand. Why would it be a sucker move to announce that it's your last fight in advance? And he said it's because no matter what, the UFC, as a business, wants to use your last fight as a launching pad for someone else. If you're a big name, like what does the UFC get out of you winning if you're never going to fight again? As a business, they need you to lose in your last fight, right? And you become like you give it an incredible fight, like Anderson Silva against Israel Adesanya, if that would have been if that was Anderson's last fight, right? Or like, or Damian Maia if he fights against Khamzat Chimaev and Chimaev beats him in and handily, and then, it's a launching pad for Khamzat Chimaev because he's going to fight again. If Damian Maia is never going to fight again, what possible upside is there for the UFC to have Damian Maia win? So when you announce that it's your last fight in advance, they're going to feed you a lion because they need you to lose as a business. And I thought about it, like, that is so correct. Like, that's so smart. I had never thought about that. Like I actually got caught up in the glory thing where it's like, it's his last fight. You want to see him go out with a bang, like Fedor when Rampage pretended to fight against him and intentionally got knocked out in the first round. And he probably bet on himself getting knocked out in the first round. That was a dive. Okay. That was a dive in case anybody missed that. Go watch Fedor versus Rampage and watch that dive that Rampage took where he bet on Fedor to win by knockout in the first. Guaranteed. Okay. Watch the last 4 fights of Rampages, just watch how he fought, and then watch that fight against Fedor, and then watch like when he went down, he's like, oh, no more. He's never done that. That was one of the most obvious dives I've ever seen, ever. But anyway, if you like the content, subscribe, ring the bell. Peace.